All right, what's happening, gang? Welcome back for another episode of Waynecast. We are on number 76, and joining me in the studio is everyone's favorite co-host, Chris Williams.
I'm here.
Welcome back.
Hello.
It wasn't quite a 6-week layoff this time.
No.
No, this was just bad planning.
Yeah.
So what is on the docket for today, Chris? What are we talking about?
We are doing 3 websites, 3 favorite websites that we have done.
Yep.
And then 3 favorite websites that we have not done.
Yeah, so like 3 websites we admire.
Yeah.
3 that we've created
Yep.
that we like.
Yeah.
That are good enough.
Yep.
All right.
Hit that 80%.
Yeah, the 80% rule.
Yeah.
All right. So I think it's one thing that I look at a lot when we do like website design is we do inspiration. We figure out what influences us as creatives to go and make something different. And that can be hard. Like when you're in a cycle of, you know this better than I do, when you're knocking out 5 to 10 websites on a monthly basis, it can be difficult to tell them apart.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I think people would like to pretend that it's like, it's super normal. And you can just create a new website and have new inspiration just kind of like that. It just doesn't work that way.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty tough coming up with like different inspirations for, when 3 or 4 websites come in at the same time. You're like, okay, I have to come up with, and not make them look the exact same, have them be, separate.
Yeah, and that's one of the nice things about having a team, because at least we can all kick it around and throw out different ideas. So I would think it would be difficult if you're a one-person designer and you're designing by volume. Like you have to do like 40 websites a month and it's one person. It's like, well, this HVAC company is going to look a hell of a lot like this real estate. Yeah, this lawyer. Yeah. They're going to look the exact same.
Yeah.
So I figure we just go one for one.
Sure.
So we'll start and then we'll just comment on each other's and why. So like basically just the website that you picked and why you picked it. So we'll start with the websites we've designed. Okay. And then we'll do the ones that we didn't.
Cool.
So what is your first website that you've designed that you like?
Well, designed, I guess, helped develop would be Finely Crafted Realty.
Yeah.
That one is still my favorite. We did it over a year ago, I think now.
It's in 2020.
Easy, yeah. Just looks really clean, nice and organized. It's a realtor website, but it doesn't feel like it.
Right.
Like it's all nice and homey and clean and, So I don't know. That one is still like the number one for me. It's nice and, I don't know, it's pretty.
Well, they spent a lot of time too, like with their branding and their photos and like that website, they had it created on WordPress and it was rough because like they had different people going in there and creating different sub menus. Right. And so when we moved it over, we carried over that design across the website. And I agree with you. That website is dope. Yeah. One of our showcase ones. Yeah. All right. So mine, it's funny because I forgot about that website. I don't know how I forgot about it. I was doing this list. It's on our website. Dean Systems.
Oh yeah.
So this is probably like an underdog website because we don't really, it's not a high volume website. Right. But it is a informationally rich, basically it's a website that is for systems processings for engineers, which sounds fascinating. Yeah. But the website is really cool. Like it looks unlike what you would think a project management system for SCADA and MES and all these other things should look like. Oh yeah. Yeah. A lot of research went into that, learning what all that stuff is. Cause I think we did some of the copywriting and then had it approved afterwards. So we're digging around to find a whole bunch of what all that stuff means and what it is and how we can, market it and all that stuff. I just remember at the end of it where we showed it off to him and he said, there's too many robots. So we had to go through and like take off all the robots. But yeah, that one is really cool. So you tell me there's no such thing as too many robots. Yeah. Right. No, that was good. That was a really fun build. And that was one that was 2 years in the making. Oh, so he had called me in 2019 when we first opened. He said, I need this website. And then it just went cold. And luckily for him, like we had a lot better systems in place to serve him 2 years later than we did initially. Because I don't think it would have looked like it did had we have launched it in 2019 rather than 2021. Yep. All right. What is your number 2? Number 2 is kind of like a group. I did the Assist site and Victor Bales and Danielle Boot. Yeah. So those have been
when you talk about like great clients, they were with us every step of the way when it came to designing those things. So it was almost like they would tell me kind of what they want or what they wanted it to do. And I would, work magic and figure it out. And, and then they believe in the aspect that like the websites are going to continually live and thrive and they're always going to change. And so they were really cool when we're like, okay, how about this design? They say, I like that. That'll be good for the spring. We'll change it, next season. And, so I don't know. They've all been, they look great. They're super user friendly, which is what I'm all about. So, and then the assist site is just tons of information and they kind of help me organize and figure out, every step of the mortgage process and turn that into, a usable handbook, really.
Assist My Realtor, and for anyone listening, all these are going to be linked in the show notes, so we'll make sure those get in there. But Assist My Realtor is one of those websites that when we first pitched it, and like he had a structure and infrastructure put in place for that, and we're like, we can make this way deeper.
Yep.
But the organization was what was the tricky part. Not even like the design. Like the design's pretty straightforward, but the organization is what you did such a great job on, because it's all in separate repositories where if you're a consumer and you're going to the website, everything just makes sense. It's where it should be. And that was a lot of you and Vic going back and forth and talking about, how his mind works or how his vision was. And that's, you mentioned what great clients they are. And Vic's been on this show. He's coming in for a part 2, hopefully soon. We got to finish that episode up.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And, it's a testament to what a website can look like if you have clients that are contributing to the plan.
Yep.
Right. All right. So my number 2 is Twin Spires Remodeling.
Oh yeah.
So there's a reason why Twin Spires. So Twin Spires is one of the first websites I ever developed.
Classic.
Yeah. It's like one of the OGs. The reason why I like it so much is because when me and Fields were talking about the architecture of this website, one, he was like, we need to have all of the pricing on there and we need to figure it out. Like, because no other remodeling company is doing that, where you can go and see the pricing and see what's included and what their process is online. Right. So I think that's why him and I kind of are always in the same rhythm, because we think a lot alike when it comes to how should customers see companies online.
Yep.
And the other thing was, he's like, I want it to look like basically a photography studio. I don't want it to look like a remodeling company. I want it to look like a showcase.
Right.
And Squarespace, when it first started, was built for photographers and creatives. Right. That's the platform that was built on. So there's a lot of those aesthetics that they've built into their UI that match the aesthetic that he wanted. So everything just kind of lined up really nicely. And you're doing TSR 3.0 right now.
Yep.
So it's going to look even cooler than it looks now. Yep. That's always been one of my favorite websites. One, because of the level of transparency.
Yep.
And two, because of just how they wanted to focus everything around themselves. There's no stock photos on the website. Yep. Everything is their own brand. It's their own projects. It's everything that they've done. And it's authentic. It's, it's not you come to me and I'll shop it out to 14 people. And like, it's a very well-oiled system that they have there. And that's why they're so darn successful.
Yep. Yeah, that one's in my honorable mentions. I have a little baby list after this just to fire them off.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. So, my number 3.
Yeah.
My number 3 is the orthodontics websites. So
interesting. That's interesting. I like that.
So those ones I really like to play. I was learning the Z-index for developing, which is putting layers on top of layers, and so that was really cool to be able to stack things, and really gives websites a lot of depth.
Yeah.
So that one was a lot of fun to design.
And that was one where they had an existing website and there was a ton of information, but it was all short pages.
Yeah.
So our mission was to take it and make it longer, 1 for SEO and just 2 for the customer experience.
Oh yeah.
Yep. I remember when you first showed me the draft, I was like pops out.
Yeah.
Almost. It's really cool the way that it looks.
Yeah.
And that guy was like, that was one of the first website projects we've had where there was 3 websites and all of them were approved first round.
Yeah. Yeah. That one was really cool. I didn't really expect that, since it was such a risk to like, okay, here's something just from my mind. I don't think I really showed anybody until after it was done. Yep. And I was just like, okay, here it is. And then everybody loved it. So I was like, that's really cool.
Phenomenal. That's a good one. That's another one I don't think about, kind of like Dean Systems.
Yep.
All right. So my third website is Wayne Media.
Yep.
So Wayne Media is a really interesting story because when I first started, this is a fun fact. So I remember Beth and I were talking about just the company, and she's like, you gotta get the website done. She's like, what's the website gonna look like? So I was like, all right. So it took like 2 hours, and I designed like the Wayne Consulting, like the whole entire site in an afternoon. And I was okay with it. It was just black and white, really kind of a simple aesthetic. And then as time went on, it turned into black, white, and then we had the blue.
Yep.
And then as time went on, Wayne Consulting morphed into Wayne Media. And we had orange and blue, which I was never a fan of that orange or that blue.
Oh, really?
Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I thought you loved it.
I didn't pick it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I wasn't, I was like, I like the Fox because the Fox was different.
Yep.
It wasn't what we have now.
Okay.
So then on like the fourth iteration of the website, so now we've had basic WCG, WCG 2.0, Wayne Media 1.0. And then now we're on like the fourth iteration, and I woke up in the middle of the night at like 1 a.m.
Yep.
And I was like, I got it. And we had new branding. So our new logo was done, like our Fox, everything was reshaped the way that I really liked. And I just crushed that website in like 6 hours. I worked all night and I got it done. And I was like, what do you guys think? Like everyone's like Johnstone consistently says, he's like, this is one of my favorite websites I've ever seen. And that's a nice compliment, but like I am happy with it, which is all I really care about, because I've never liked our website for like the first 3 or 4 years, and it always frustrated me that I couldn't figure out like, well, what makes sense in my brain, what works, and that was the first time I was like, oh, I got it, and it just all flowed out, and I like the way it looks. I think it's cool.
Oh yeah, it's great. Interesting that you picked that one.
Yeah.
Because if we're moving on to our top 3 that we have not done, that is in there.
That's really interesting.
So I did 4. So that's
4 that we've not done.
That I have not done. 4 that I like that I have not done.
Okay. So, and you said you had honorable mentions for ones that you have done?
Oh yeah. Let's go do those. Okay. So I'll
think of some while you're talking.
Okay. So the honorable mentions, I don't know. Can we bring up sites that are in development?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so the PCIA site is going to be great. Like
absolutely.
That one, that is my honorable mention. But then I have an in memoriam.
All right.
Websites that never made it. So.
Oh yeah.
So should we name drop those?
I guess.
Christie's Cafe for sure.
Yeah. Oh, that's not live.
I don't even know if that is live. No, I don't.
I'm gonna look while we're sitting here. Yeah, first of all, I like Christy.
Oh yeah, she's great.
But the problem is like that handoff.
Yep.
Just terrible.
Yeah, she had her own web guy. She had us do her website, and then COVID hit, and then everything slowed way down for her because she's just a cafe in Louisville.
Yep.
And so she had to put it on the side, and then it kind of just sat there. And so we, reached out to her and said, hey, you still got this website. What do you want to do with it?
Yeah.
And so she looked at it. She said, I like it. I have this web guy that I've used for years and years. He did my original site. How about we just hand it off to him and he'll finish it? I said, okay, great. And so that was it. And that was the last we heard from her.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So we turned over the license to them, and they said it's going to take months until they get photos and different. Yeah. So that will probably hit. It's not live right now. I just checked. Okay. Yeah. So that will probably hit eventually.
Yeah.
But that is one where I'm excited once it is live to be like, hey, look at this, because it's super cool.
Yeah. I hope they keep the design and all of that. But yeah, that was another one where I was just kind of playing around, and everyone was like, whoa, what are you doing? That's so different looking.
Yeah, so. It's like a 50s diner.
Yeah.
Like threw up on a website. It looks awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was, and then also Flowtech is also in my memoriam.
Yeah.
So
still hope.
Yeah. Still hope.
There.
The website's completely done.
It's the website.
Huge website. I think over 200 products.
Yeah.
All of them have their own different things to them. It's a filter company. So it's kind of interesting. Yep. Each item has their own like thickness, size, shape, all of that.
Thousands of variants.
Thousands.
Yeah.
So yeah, that took a while to complete. And
so when people are like, can you do complex e-commerce? It's like, absolutely.
Yeah.
We absolutely can.
Yeah.
No, that's a good list. That was your whole.
Yeah.
That was your honorable mentions.
Yep.
Memoriam. I love that. Yeah, there's just a ton of websites that we've done that I really like. Like the Absolute website is really cool. That was one that it went from like some custom development platform. I forget the name of it, but it's like a small company's development platform. It's based on WordPress.
Okay.
And then it went to HubSpot, and then it went to us, and then we just kind of took all of those files and just recreated something brand new. So that was a joint project you and I worked on.
Yeah, that was the first one I think I did.
Yeah, I think the first video was actually Pain for Your Life.
Oh, that's right. Yep.
Which I think Absolute was number 2, but that was one that I was super proud of.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed. And then that, yeah. So, just the progression of that. But yeah, Absolute, really enjoy that website. I'm trying to think. I would say like the Speakeasy site. I like.
Oh, yeah, that's a cool one too.
That's unique. I think it's ready for a 3.0.
Yep.
But it's there.
So you just gotta wake up at 2 a.m. with
that's what I'm waiting for. Yeah.
Light bulb.
All right. So very good. So that's all of the websites that we like. And again, we like all of our websites. It's not like we shoot out stuff we don't like. Yeah. But these are the ones where like, and this kind of gets into the topic I want to talk about in the next episode, but this is where you have really good client communication, really good client vision. The business is at a point where they can dump a lot of time and resources into this project, and it can come out really nicely if all those pieces are in place. Yeah. So, all right. So now on to the more fun part, which is websites that we are inspired by, or the websites that we enjoy. Okay. So you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first. Well, I talked about Wayne Media already. So that one, in my perspective, was, I didn't mind the, 3.0, the one we had before. It was just okay. Like it wouldn't have made my top 3, but it was cool. Yeah. And then you woke up one day and was like, hey, I redid the Wayne Media website. And I was like, all right. Like I was a little bummed because I was just like, okay, and I looked at it and I was like, oh yeah, okay. This is a real company now. Like this is a real, So that one is one of my top that I have not done. So I really like that one. You knocked it out of the park with that one.
Appreciate that. Yeah, that was, I'll call that the last great design inspiration I've had.
No, that's not true.
Yeah, no, that was super fun to work on. And that's, I couldn't see us changing that for at least a few years. Yeah. All right. So one of mine is actually Knapsack Creative. This is actually a competitor of ours. They're also a Squarespace developer.
Yeah, I forgot about them.
And again, I don't know these guys, but I feel like if they were down the road from us, we would be pretty tight with them. Oh yeah, because we operate, at least from what I see online, very similar to how they do. Yeah, everything is upfront, transparent, pricing. One of the only web agencies I've found that like is properly branded in the Squarespace lane. They have their own, like they'll build a website in one day. Yep. Basically, they take like a month to collect all the assets. Then it's like, hey, February 24th, that is your build day. And they take 8 hours and knock it out. Right. And you can watch them as they go. Yeah. And it's a really cool, it's a unique take. They're a really cool team. Again, from my perception, but I love their website. Yeah.
So my official number 1 would be the Apple site. Okay. I know we always talk about like one day, but that's probably the biggest company with the most stylized design on any website that I've seen. Absolutely. Like you go to anybody else's, like a major company, and it's like you're just thrown with information, just blocks and blocks and blocks of whatever they're featuring or whatever they're offering. Like the Apple homepage is just, whatever their top product is at the time, super stylized with animations, like just everything looking excellent. It doesn't really look like, name another big company and it's very boring. Yeah. Just white background, tons of text, picture of a product or service. And
absolutely. It's funny that you say that. Apple was not, so I did my list in rankings. I'm going backwards right now, but Apple was my number 1 as well. So we're on the same page there. And it's funny that you mentioned other companies because I actually looked at their competitors. I looked at Microsoft. Sure. Yeah. I looked at other tech companies that are hardware and software. Like Microsoft website needs some help. Yeah. Like they need to get a hold of Apple's developer and see if they can help them out. Because boy, is it terrible.
All the things that they do, like, and that's what their website looks like. And I mean, I guess it gets the job done, but I'd like to know like the story behind it. Like, why is it so boring?
Probably because they want it to be like their products. That way there's not such a big leap.
I guess.
Because it's like that way if you open up like a Surface, Pro, you're like, oh, I get it.
Right.
It's just so different.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know what Microsoft's deal is. Like, I feel like they're close.
Right.
But boy, it's like a 2003 e-com store. Like, it's just not great.
Yep.
And Apple's got everything smoothed out. And
right.
Samsung's probably the closest to Apple in terms of but Samsung has a really bad habit of trying to just copy everything Apple does. Right. My favorite thing about the Samsung store though is like, when like a new Note goes on sale and it's like, you can get this Note for like $48 if you trade in your current phone and we give you $500 in rebates and credits. Yep. So like there's a new tablet out. I think it's like the 8 Plus or something from Samsung. And I went and because one of the YouTubers I follow said, go and put this in your cart and see what happens. And I was like, okay. So I put it in the cart and it's like, hey, this tablet's $700. And then you check out and it's like, do you want to do a trade-in? And you're like, nope, still says $700. You get to the end, it's like, okay, that's $11.99. Like it just like the price only changes like when you get to the actual checkout because there's all these rebates they assume. It's kind of like on Tesla's website. Right. When you get Tesla and they're like, hey, you're going to save $2,000 in gas.
Yep.
But here's the real price of the car. Yeah. It's a lot like that. But Samsung's website from an aesthetic perspective looks good, but from just an information perspective, it's garbage. Yeah.
See price and checkout.
Yeah.
It's not cool.
Yes. So I'm with you there. Apple would be my, on this list would be my second one.
Yep.
I've talked about. So we share that one for sure.
Yeah. So my number 2 is a little weird, I think.
Okay.
I picked YouTube just because of like the design of it. If you hand a toddler a tablet, any tablet, doesn't matter, and you have YouTube pulled up or just the YouTube app, the YouTube browser, they know how to manipulate it. They'll get Baby Shark on that thing faster than, your parents can get Baby Shark on that thing.
Oh, for sure.
And it fascinates me. Like, that, it's so simple that literally anybody can just figure it out. And then just the vast amount of information on there, you can learn how to do literally anything. But yeah, it's not very design aesthetic. It's kind of,
that's a great pick though.
It's just weird. I always thought that it was kind of strange that like a kid always comes up and says, you got games on your phone? They're like, you're like, no, but here's YouTube. And then they're watching games.
That's a dangerous game.
And oh, sure.
YouTube for kids.
Right. Oh yeah. Right. Yeah.
It's like, what's Jake Paul doing in the woods?
Right.
Where's his brother? Which one was it? I forget. They're both a hot mess. Yeah, that's a great pick. And even like from a application perspective, like moving that whole website and to have the same function. Because even now, like, I don't know if I thought this was a glitch at first, but like one of my favorite things to do while I watch tech reviews is to read the comments.
Oh yeah.
But I can only do that, you'd be used to, in vertical orientation.
Okay.
Right? Because it's split. So now when you turn it in landscape, the comments superimpose themselves over the video and you can scroll with your right finger or your right thumb while you're still watching the video. Huh. So like, I thought that was a glitch. I was like, why are my comment sections popping up? And then you can slide them in and out.
Okay.
So even that, like they think about the end user and how they're going to do it. Cause who doesn't scroll through comments and see who's
every once in a while
roasting this guy while he's talking. So that's always been, that's a great pick, man. YouTube.
I didn't know if it would work, but it was just kind of weird enough that I was just like, okay, well, it's not a pretty website at all. Like it's just, just a bunch of blocks of videos, but it's so like, I don't know, user friendly, I guess, easy to use. Just like anybody can just pick it up and start messing with it and get to where they want to go.
Yeah, that's the whole like, next video starts in 5 seconds or here's 14 different recommendations based on what you just seen to keep you going down that rabbit hole. Their algorithm is also noteworthy.
Oh yeah, it's wild
how they get people to stay on. I like that. So my last pick, it's not sexy at all, but it's actually Squarespace.
Okay. I was going to put Squarespace on mine because it's kind of crazy, but like I have a bone to pick with them because, I'm going to jump. It really made me mad.
Yeah, go ahead, hit me.
The Squarespace website, if you go to squarespace.com and you scroll through that website, there is things on that homepage or on that website that you can't do as a Squarespace customer.
Right.
And so I've gone to their support and I said, hey, I really like that on your own homepage, you have this, design or this animation. How do I do that on my website? And they will literally say, you cannot do that without special code, and we can't help you with special code. So you have to go to some third party, you got to find, or write it yourself, or, you just figure it out. Sorry, we can't help you. Right. So it's kind of like a weird false advertising. But then at the end, they'll say like, oh, well, we'll throw that into our developers. We'll get that in the queue. There's no telling when it will be added, but we'll let them know that you're interested.
That's a great point.
So not to invalidate yours, because I was going to add mine to the list because it is really cool. Like it's very graphically pleasing and easy to use, and it's got all the information you need to know. But it frustrates me that like, well, I go there every once in a while for, inspiration, and I see like, oh man, that's really cool. But then I can't do it or I have to search for it by some other means.
Yeah. That's a great point. It's like if you have, it's like if we had, I guess we would call it like a portfolio at Wayne Media. Right. And it was on the homepage. And it's of like a really cool like drone footage. Mm-hmm. And someone's like, hey, I'd really like to, use your drone services. Like, oh, we don't do that.
Yeah, sorry.
You have to go find your own pilot to do that.
We'll tell our creatives we'll let them know that you're interested in drone footage.
Yeah, we'll add it to our hiring queue.
Right.
So you're a good drone pilot. That's a great point though, because if Squarespace, if they ever do end up listening to this, small chance, but who knows, that would be a really interesting thing if you are selling it on the, anyone can do the design.
Right.
And everything on that homepage scroll should be an out of the box feature. Yep. Not something that like SquareKicker or, CSS or HTML has to jump in and solve for you. One of the reasons I like Squarespace is I love their advertising. They're really clever when it comes to advertising. Like Apple, in my opinion, is always going to be the best marketing company in the world. Squarespace is getting pretty damn close.
Yeah.
They're smart. I love their Super Bowl commercial was one of my top 3 this year. They just have a really good way of mixing pop culture in with services.
Yeah.
And I've always found that to be super interesting with them. They take those risks because like they had Zendaya is their featured splash page.
Yep.
And I think it still is right now. I think she still is right now. But the risk of using pop culture celebrities is you're gonna get yourself into a Bill Cosby or someone that does something, terribly wrong. It's not on there anymore. No. But I hear you. I'm flipping through the website right now and I'm like, we can't do that. We can't do that. Like, I gotcha.
Looks nice though.
It does look really nice. Yeah. It's on WordPress. But the thing I love about Squarespace though is they don't have they take all the risks, and even like when they do product launches, which is something like Wix and other developers don't currently do, is they do events similar to Apple, or like here's what's coming in the next year.
Yeah.
And we'll roll it out to our circle members first.
Yep.
And it's just really neat how they've developed this into almost like a culture of developers, and there's online forums and communities and just people that are dedicated to making this platform as customizable as possible.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a good site. I like it. Just wish I could do the things that are on there.
Right. I agree. Yeah. So those are my 3. So I had Apple, Squarespace, and Knapsack Creative. Yeah. That was my list.
So I have, my first was Apple, then YouTube. And then, so my number 3, I forgot about SquareKicker though. Like that's so
up and
powerful.
Up and coming.
It's huge.
Yeah.
But their site is really cool too. If you haven't scrolled through their website in a while, like SquareKicker is an extension that you can add on to your Squarespace websites that lets you do code without writing code, which is really cool. But their homepage is all of the things that you can do with SquareKicker, like just one right after another. While also like marketing their product. So it's really cool. That one didn't make my list. It's still cool. It probably should have. But my number 3 is awards.com. So I found this one when you told me about the topic, and it's awards with 3 W's. So what this is, it's a cool inspiration site for me to kind of like, this is where I'll be one day. But it's user-driven site where you can submit your own websites and they're voted on by the community. And then a winner is chosen every single day. So you can go in and see like, okay, what was the winner for today? What was the winner for yesterday? And they're all like so absolutely crazy websites that, you know, they're not necessarily Squarespace. They're all over the place. When I search specific Squarespace, I think 33 of them have won website of the day in their history. So not too bad. I'm not sure how many total there are.
Yeah.
But going through and just kind of seeing what people have done with Squarespace sites or what people do with other sites that I can steal and, you know, use on our own sites. But it's a cool site for inspiration. They just have like a whole bunch of different websites that you can kind of browse through and see which ones you like. So
we should submit some of ours.
I made an account today, actually.
Excellent. Excellent. Yeah.
Should be pretty cool.
That'd be cool. We should put like the worst website. Like we should put like our developer website on there.
Yeah.
Just like a bunch of hodgepodge code. Yeah. Wins site of the day.
Right. It's all just different languages.
That's cool. I've never heard of this. Awards.com. That's awesome. With 3 W's.
It's pretty neat.
All in a row. Neat. Well, cool. So that is kind of how we float about and do inspiration as a company. So if you're a developer or a company, hopefully that's helpful to you and kind of getting an inside look in how we do our process. Anything else before we wrap up?
I think that's it, man.
Cool. That is number 76, friends. We will catch you on the next one. Take care.